you're in, let's say, ECW 2300, Alhambra, what all the other names, arena you're in, and the sort of gap of the entrance area is quite slim. Were you ever worried that some fan was just going to take a proper grab out of you?
Oh, it's happened.
Yeah.
It's happened in many arenas, not just the CW one. One time in Boston, I think it was in Revere, Massachusetts. Shane and I were coming to the ring, and I don't know if the guy was like, he must have been aiming for me, because I got a sucker punch right in the back of the head, literally, boom. And I felt it, and I turned around, and it was this, he had long red hair. He was tall. I'll never forget. And I look, and we locked eyes, and I grabbed him, and I hit his head onto the guardrail. And I held him there. He didn't fight me either. And I held him there, and security got him. And, I didn't mind the chance. I didn't mind people calling me names, because I was a heel, and that's what heels do. You want a reaction. I didn't like being touched, and I thought it was disrespectful. People, one guy almost ripped my whole dress off my body, just tearing. It's uncalled for. We're out there performing and sometimes getting hurt for your entertainment. And I know it's fun, and I know you hate the bad guys, you love the good guys, blah, blah, but there's no reason to cross the line and try to harm us. So, there were plenty of times when Shane would get into fist fights, and I would just be like, here we go again, but it was a staple with us. And, especially that one night when, we did the Gary Wolfe with the halo. I don't know if you're familiar with that.
I am indeed. I was going to ask you about that, but yeah, carry on.
Yeah. So, if you ask Gary, it was Shane's fault. If you ask Shane, it was Gary's fault. But the bump went wrong, and poor Gary ended up breaking his neck for real. And so he comes back in full halo, and it broke my heart, because we loved Gary. You know what I mean? Loved Gary. He was great to work with. And that night, there were literally people trying to jump the guardrail. They were grabbing us. And when we're making our exit, I had just taken a bump. So I'm selling. And the way Shane grabbed me, I couldn't get my bearings with my feet. And my feet were like this. Instead of being like this, that you can walk, they were backward, dragging. And he was just holding me under my arms, dragging me. And we had like 20 people around us, and people were just grabbing my hair, pulling my hair, and punching us. And I was so scared, and I was just like, what is going on? And we finally, we go into the back, we get in the getaway car. The doors are locked, and we're trying to open the doors, and the doors are locked. We had like the baby faces were chasing us to this getaway car, and we can't even get in the car because the doors are locked. And we finally get into the car, and Shane's like, check me, am I bleeding? And I said, what? And he says, I don't know. Did I get stabbed? I said, I think you would know if you got stabbed. And he's like, just check. So I'm looking. I said, no, you're fine. But people were like attacking us because they loved Gary so much. And that was real heat. We had to be escorted to our car after the shows. It was crazy. And I'm such a nice person. Like, I always wanted to sign autographs. And she was like, no, you can't sign autographs. Go to the car. And that's what you did back then. The heels were heels, and the baby faces, they hung out with the fans.
I actually spoke to Elijah Zabisco a few months ago, and he has been stabbed, and he just said he didn't realize until he got to the back, because it just felt like someone had hit him and punched him basically, and he just didn't notice.
Your adrenaline, and you're so hyped up over everything. And like the night that I broke my hip, I felt it, but I didn't know the extent of it until I got to the back. And Paul's like, go to the hospital. I was like, I'm not going to the hospital. And he said, well, if you can walk up the steps, there were these old rickety steps in the back that led to urinals at the top where you can watch the show off the balcony. He said, walk up those steps and you don't have to go to the hospital. And like when I stood up, I couldn't put no pressure on my left side. but when I was out there, it didn't register. So I understand what Jerry means. Like, that's why Shane was like, check me, because he wasn't sure. You know, he said, somebody could have stabbed me. I don't even know. And I was like, nobody stabbed you. Relax. We're not in Puerto Rico. You're fine. So, but it got scary out there.